In the 1970s, Charlotte was not yet the banking superpower you know, but it was erupting with ambition. A 40-story tower raced skyward as Hugh McColl seized control at NCNB, and 30% more people poured in, chasing new dreams. How did a quiet mill town ignite this transformation, reshaping not just its skyline but the lives of everyone who called it home? The answers reveal a city at a crossroads, rich with opportunity and conflict, if you know where to look. Cranes dotted the skyline as steel and glass rose above Tryon Street, reshaping Charlotte's heart. In 1974, the NCNB Plaza opened its doors, a 40-story tower that dwarfed everything around it. For the first time, Charlotte had a true skyscraper, a sign that the city was ready to play in the big leagues. At the center of this ambition stood Hugh McColl, just 39 years old when he took the helm as president of North Carolina National Bank. McColl brought a military discipline to the boardroom, pushing his team to think bigger, move faster, and outmaneuver rivals. He believed Charlotte could be more than a regional footnote. Under his leadership, NCNB began snapping up smaller banks, building relationships across the South, and luring top talent with the promise of upward mobility and a fresh start. The culture inside those glass towers was sharp-edged and restless, button shirts, tight deadlines, and a sense that anything was possible if you worked hard enough. First Union, the other rising giant, watched every move, fueling a friendly but fierce competition that brought new energy downtown. For Charlotte's young professionals, a banking job meant better pay and a path to something greater. The city's growing confidence showed in every new office, every busy lunch spot, every family looking for a home close to the action. The skyline was not just about architecture, it was a promise that Charlotte's best days were still ahead. Out beyond the new towers downtown, families scoured the real estate ads in the Charlotte Observer, circling listings for 3-bedroom brick ranches in Plaza, Midwood, Dilworth, or Myers Park. The numbers jumped off the page: 35,000, 42,000, maybe 60,000. If you wanted a bigger yard or a corner lot, that kind of money could buy a sturdy home with wood paneling and shag carpet in avocado green, a screened-in porch for summer evenings, and a patch of grass for the kids. Teachers, nurses, bank clerks, and mill workers found themselves able to dream of homeownership, not just talk about it. South Charlotte was a patchwork of new subdivisions, each one promising a slice of the good life. University City was taking shape too, pulling families north with the promise of fresh schools and easy access to the highways. The city's population surged by more than 30% during the decade, and every new development brought more neighbors, more Little League teams, more block parties. When SouthPark Mall opened in 1970, it became the weekend gathering spot. Shoppers wandered under bright skylights, ducking into Belk or Ivy's, or grabbing burgers at the lunch counter. The mall was more than a place to buy things. It was where kids met up, parents caught up, and the city's new middle class could see itself reflected in the crowd. For a while, it really did feel like anyone with steady work could afford a place to call their own and a Saturday to spend however they pleased. Memorial Day weekend in Charlotte meant one thing: the World 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Engines thundered across the Piedmont, drawing tens of thousands to the grandstands in Concord. The air was thick with the scent of fried chicken and gasoline. Fans packed coolers, waved checkered flags, and staked out their favorite spots before sunrise. Richard Petty, with his powder blue Plymouth, was a fixture at the front of the pack, while Cale Yarborough and David Pearson traded paint at nearly 200 miles per hour. The roar of the crowd matched the roar on the track as families and diehard fans watched legends chase glory lap after lap. Friday nights brought their own kind of magic at Metrolina Speedway. Local short-track racing was where future stars learned to drive hard and fix what they broke. Mechanics and machinists from Charlotte's garages tuned engines by day and cheered from the bleachers by night. NASCAR was not just a sport, it was a way for Charlotte to show off, to welcome visitors from all over the South, and to remind everyone that this city could throw a party as big as any in America. Those races brought dollars, headlines, and a sense of pride that stretched far beyond the finish line. Shift changes at the mills in North Charlotte sent streams of workers onto the sidewalks, lunch pails in hand, as the looms rattled on inside. In 1970, textile plants like J.P. Stevens and Chadwick Hoskins still employed thousands, producing yarn and fabric in buildings that had anchored neighborhoods for generations. The air inside was thick with cotton dust, and shifts ran long, 10, sometimes 12 hours, yet the work felt reliable. By the decade's end, that sense of security was fading. Foreign imports and automation chipped away at payrolls, and the city's textile workforce shrank by as many as 4,000 jobs between 1970 and 1979. For some, the answer was to trade the hum of machinery for the steady climate of a bank lobby or the promise of a warehouse job. Unemployment hovered around 5 to 6%, buffered by the city's new role as a distribution hub. The intersection of Interstate 85 and Interstate 77 brought trucking companies and logistics outfits, offering another path for blue-collar families. Average household incomes in Charlotte climbed to nearly $15,000 by the end of the decade, enough for a starter home, a reliable car, and maybe a family dinner out on payday. The mills didn't vanish overnight, but the city's economic engine was running on more than cotton and thread. The rhythm of daily life in the 1970s in Charlotte played out on four wheels. On weekend nights, Independence Boulevard turned into a rolling car show. Teenagers in Camaros, Mustangs, and Pontiac Trans Ams cruised side by side, their engines rumbling under the streetlights. Families loaded up in Oldsmobile Delta 88s or Ford LTD wagons, kids pressed against the vinyl seats, AM radios tuned to WBT. But the freedom of the open road came with a catch. The gas crises of 1973 and 1979 brought long lines at filling stations, tempers flaring as drivers waited for their turn at the pump. Odd-even license plate rules decided which days you could fill up, and some folks kept 5-gallon cans in the trunk just in case. Downtown Independence Square buzzed on Saturdays. Shoppers drifted between Ivy's and Belk, pausing for lunch at Woolworth's counter or to catch a matinee at the Carolina Theater. That theater's last movie, a Bruce Lee film in November 1978, drew a crowd that sensed an era was passing. The Double Door Inn pulsed with blues and rock at night, while the Mint Museum offered a quieter escape. Barbecue smoke curled above sidewalk grills, and the city's pulse could be felt in every block, fast, hungry, and full of promise. In April 1971, the United States Supreme Court handed down a unanimous decision in Swann versus Charlotte Mecklenburg Board of Education, upholding the use of bezzing as a tool to dismantle segregated schools. The case had begun 6 years earlier when local parents challenged the district's so-called freedom of choice plan that left most black children attending schools with almost no white classmates. Federal Judge James McMillan presided over the case, insisting that real integration required more than good intentions. He called on Dr. John Finger, an expert in school desegregation, to design a plan that would force the district to confront its divided neighborhoods. The resulting blueprint, known as the Finger Plan, paired urban black schools with white suburban ones, sending thousands of students across town each day. Judge McMillan's orders carried the full weight of the law, and for Charlotte, the era of separate and unequal education was officially over, at least on paper. Engines idled before dawn on September 9, 1970, as 525 yellow buses fanned out across Charlotte-Mecklenburg. Drivers checked their lists, parents watched from porches, and children, some clutching book bags and others glancing nervously, stepped aboard for rides that could last an hour or more. The city felt tension. Along major intersections, parents and activists held handmade signs chanting as buses rolled past. On the courthouse steps, organizers from the Concerned Parents Association delivered a petition with 67,000 signatures to local officials, demanding an end to forced busing. News cameras captured picket lines and heated exchanges outside schools. Some families kept their children home, while others sent them off with a mix of pride and worry. The first day of busing brought confusion and confrontation, but also moments of quiet courage. Students found new seats, teachers greeted unfamiliar faces, and the city came face to face with change it could no longer ignore. Charlotte's skyline still climbs higher, but the promise of affordable homes and true community feels more distant than ever. As rapid growth reshapes every block, the city faces a new crossroads, deciding what and who it will remember. The soul of a place is never built overnight. Share your memories below.